Welcome to San Francisco Week. Tell them what it's about, Jack.
Well, it's all about going to different agencies in San Francisco, figuring out what it's like to work in advertising in San Francisco, and just the culture in general. We went to Erich Kallman, Barrett Hoffer, BSSP, Venables Bell & Partners, and Goodby Silverstein Partners, and it's a freaking blast. You're going to want to stick around for this.
Boom. Said it perfectly. Check it out. San Francisco, Jack. What's this theme song of San Francisco?
I don't know. It's like anything. What would you say, Rikesh? What's like the theme song? Like New York has Frank Sinatra.
New York. What's San Francisco's?
Oh man, the hip hop side of me would say pull something from E40, but
Yes.
How's that
E40.
yeah, tell me when to go.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Is that what? Tell me when to go.
Yeah.
Tell me when to go.
Yeah.
That's the theme
and then
song?
it's just like five dumbs. Yeah, dumb.
What's the theme song for Eric and Kallman as an agency, would you say?
Ooh.
We're not doing easy
This
stuff.
is a great
We're not
start.
doing easy questions.
Oh, I know. You know it's the song in the moment where in Scarface where they're making all that cash. Push it to the limit. Yeah.
How does that go?
How does that one go?
It goes push it to the limit.
Oh.
I'm gonna butcher
Push
it,
it
but
to
yeah.
the limit.
Push it to
Maybe you
the
guys
limit.
can edit that in and drop
Push
it.
it to the. Well, auto tune.
Yeah.
That's. I like that. Why
Walk
did you
along
pick-
the razor's edge. That's one of the lines on
Walk
it.
along the
The
razor's
razor's
edge.
edge.
Why do you say that for Eric and Kallman?
Well, just the crazy shit that we put out, or try to put out, you know, for the creative. I mean, I think we always try to. I feel like as a small agency, we punch above our weight class, quite a bit, and so like we're always trying to find like what is that cool idea, what is that cool insight, what is that cool cultural thing that we can create versus kind of ride on,
Yeah.
That's why I'd say that song. But yeah.
Oh, I like that. Let's back things up though.
Yeah.
What we're doing right now, we're in San Francisco on our city tours here. So we're visiting a couple agencies here in San Francisco, trying to figure out what is it like to work in advertising in San Francisco. More specifically, what is it like to work within Eric and Kallman in this whole ecosystem here? So that's the main goal of this podcast. If we don't do that, we failed, Rikesh.
We failed.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna let you fail.
Thank you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And
I guess.
Eric's sick.
Yeah.
We were gonna
Yeah.
get a hazmat suit and like
Yeah,
go visit him.
That probably would have been good. Yeah, he's somewhere just like eating all the medicines.
Yeah.
Every antibiotic.
He's getting
That's a good
medicated.
time to get on a podcast.
He's getting medicated.
Yeah, medicated.
Jack takes a lot of medication before these podcasts.
Yeah.
So I want to start with the San Francisco. Culturally, what does it mean to work in advertising in San Francisco?
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco's got like a crazy, amazing, creative history. Not just advertising, but creativity in general. And I actually came here, out of art school, hoping to be a fine artist. Making it in the city, and then decided, you know what, I'm probably gonna need to pay some bills. Mm-hmm. So, advertising was a good way to do that. But yeah, it's a really cool city. There's just, I think, 20 years back, kind of before the tech boom, there was such a great mix of like artists and makers and, people doing some really interesting, cool shit. And that just kind of, I feel like has always been flowing through the city, whether we've had, the city's had ups and downs, but that's just something that's always been here. You think about like those big, those staple agencies like the Hal Reineys of the world, which then, the offshoot of that was Goodby, Venables. Like you think about that tree that, that Riney started, that really helped the advertising, the creative community thrive, and I feel like you still have bits and patches of that, even with all the crazy mergers and everything that's going on. You're still seeing a ton of great small shops coming out. It feels like there's always one popping up, every 6 months here in the city. And there's a reason for that. I think there's a ton of great talent. I mean, there's a reason why I've stayed here for most of my advertising career is, there's something really unique about it,
Yeah.
It's really hard to like pin it, but I know that it's such a small community. I think we all just really want to make amazing work,
Are we going to have a conversation similar to Austin, Jack, of like, there's old Austin and now there's like this new Austin. Like there's a lot of change recently in Austin. Are we going to have a similar conversation with San Francisco, Rikesh, as well? Like where it's like pre-tech boom, now like post-tech boom. There's a different world. Are we on that?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. That's funny that you say Austin because we also have an Austin office, and so I feel like they're very much sister cities in that way, at least in advertising.
And you've seen like kind of pre.
Oh yeah. We've seen it before, and especially, it's funny. Tech came in here, 2011, 2012, I want to say, and really kind of changed the landscape. I'll leave that up to the other folks, whether that was good or bad, but regardless, it changed. And I feel like that's now happening in Austin, right? Because there's now been a tech boom there with, a lot of startups and tech companies, setting up shop there, setting up headquarters out there. You're seeing a lot of the community now come out and really express themselves and put Austin kind of on the map, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to say like 10 years ago, you weren't really thinking about Austin as a destination for creative talent, but like it's such a hotbed. I mean, that was one of the reasons why we set up shop there when we were deciding to open up a second office was, there's so much great talent out there. Like, why aren't we tapping into that?
I mean, it's like similar but different. Austin and San Francisco. San Francisco, I feel like has such a more, in my opinion, like deep rooted, creative, like the hippie movement.
Right.
And from that, like it just has. It still feels like it's a part of the fabric of the city, and it still feels like San Francisco. It's more. It feels more.
It's a hot take.
It feels like it's more of a part of the city still. Like if you go down like Haight-Ashbury, like you'll see it all right there.
Yeah,
Even you go in the Golden Gate Park, it's still there. It's still like that sense and all that. And what's interesting to me is that Austin feels like the tech boom there has really accelerated a lot of business growth. And like they still had like the creative beginnings with like music and all that, but it still feels like in SF it's still more a part of the base culture and the hippie movement.
I would say that. And I would say that probably has a lot to do with kind of the countercultural streak, like you were talking about the hippie era and all of that. I feel like that's something that's kind of always been kind of woven through. They always call us like the crazy leftist city, and that sort of thing. But with that comes a very open-minded sense, and a sensibility when it, in everything, when it comes to creative, when it comes to tech, and things like that. I think that's something that's still really, really, really strong. Is that kind of that ambition to kind of break out and do something different.
Right.
Is something that runs through the veins of this town.
And then how does that filter down when it comes to creative talent? Like at Eric Kallman, is it a lot of people that are coming to San Francisco, or is it a lot of creative talent that has already been here at San Francisco and is kind of bouncing to?
Yeah, I'd say it's a mix of both.
Okay.
A little bit. I do feel like with a lot of some of our younger folks, that are starting here at the agency, they're coming from other places, and it feels like San Francisco is becoming a destination for creativity again. There was the whole media doom spiral, about San Francisco and its issues, but I feel like that's changed in the last year or so.
100%.
And it feels like we're now becoming this destination for creatives to come and make cool shit, and it's happening at smaller agencies, which is really exciting. Agencies like us, that it feels like creatives, especially with all the crazy mergers that are happening and everyone's getting bought out, these independent shops are the ones that good creatives want to be at.
For sure, you're gonna see more of that too post this big merger that just happened. People are gonna be looking at these independent agencies, so
that's where you feel we're gonna win out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys are set up
very
nicely. And Eric and Kallman, let's give our impressions of it from what we know. Like, what do you think about this agency?
Yeah,
how would you define it to the listeners? And then Rikesh, you can correct us.
Yeah, for me, Eric and Kallman, this is like they're the funny agency. They're funny. It's all about humor. It's like simple. You think about like the Reese's Super Bowl campaigns is like what comes to mind initially for someone who's like on the outside looking in. And then
like I think that has it's one of the agencies, like it's easy to say as an agency, like we're all like we make funny stuff, we do humor, but then also to like have it be very, very effective business wise and like build a whole business around it. And so I know Eric and Kallman, Ad Age, A-List. So like to see that kind of gives you the sense that like, okay, they're sticking to like some genetics and the original, like what Eric started it as, but are now making it into like a fully grown business, which is my take on it.
I would agree. I mean, yeah, I think you got like some of the Wieden notes into this as well, like from Eric's background and like the slapstick comedy, like the Old Spice work, the Skittles work that he had. You can kind of see that ethos trickle down into here in its own unique way. But yeah, the effectiveness, when I was doing my homework on this, the Reese's Super Bowl ad, I wasn't sure if it was from last year or the year before, but it had like a really high spike rating from System 1.
Yeah.
I will even go as far to say I think it had the highest spike rating in terms of Super Bowl ad goes. It launches for Reese's that you guys made and then sold the most product in the short term, which is great.
Yeah.
And that was slapstick comedy. So it seems like it is effective. It is working. And those are my impressions of it too.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Rikesh, thoughts?
I love
What do you
that.
think?
I
What do you
love
think about
that.
all that?
I love
Do you
that.
want to change
Can
the
we put that
narrative?
in our testimonial?
Absolutely not.
Let's do that.
I mean, Frick. You can swear if you want, Rikesh.
No. That's totally spot on. Like I think we always go with the intention of not just entertaining but educating, as well. And when you look at something like the Super Bowl, like that was one of the ones where regardless of if you're talking about the one from last year, the lava one, or the Yes campaign from the one before, one of the things that we realized about the Super Bowl is every piece of creative, almost every piece of creative that's going to get put out there has some sort of celebrity in it, and so one of the challenges that the client had given us and we also gave to ourselves was like, how can we make this as sticky as throwing Chris Evans or Matt Damon into a spot without using that celebrity? And I feel like part of that was designed in a way to create a ton of crazy recall, because if you look at both spots, we're always coming back to the product, but we're doing it in a funny way, right? We're creating like an announcement and some excitement around the product through these wacky situations, these insane situations. And so I think that probably has a lot to do with it. I don't think it was strategic in a way, but not where your strategy was showing, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
It's like they both feel very self-aware.
Yeah.
Like you're, as a brand, it's like,
we're selling something.
You're selling something, and you're not
Yeah.
like, and you're making a joke, like you're making a joke out of it while it's also like accomplishing the goal. And I think that takes a little bit of bravery as like from the brand side, I think, like to give them props, to be like open to pretty much like kind of being self-aware about it, knowing that you're selling something, kind of being jokey about the whole situation.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Like that is a testament to the client that we have at Reese's. Like he thinks like a creative, which is pretty awesome. Like he's a marketer at his core.
Shout out.
But yeah. Shout out
Shout
to
out.
Ryan Reese. Like, what up, dude?
His name is
Ryan Reese?
Yeah, Ryan Reese.
Reese?
Yeah,
Is he?
No, not
he,
no. He's not of the Reese's
Ryan
family.
Reese's?
Do you ever see that TikTok is like in New York, like you'll meet somebody and their last name is why they're rich.
Yeah.
It's like Kelly Oreo is at the party.
It's Michael Toaster Strudel.
Yeah. No, it's not like that. Yeah.
No,
There's no James PNG. Yeah.
Yes, James Proctor / Gamble.
That'd be so sick. But you guys
that's
do this
cool.
type of work too, with like Impossible and like Little Caesars too. It's just like that quick, funny. It's sticky, like you said. There's a strategy in it. It's like get the 15 is like what you guys, I feel like.
Oh yeah, we
crush.
live for the 15.
You guys live for the 15.
Like to me, like and I think that's always an amazing opportunity. And I would also say this to a lot of younger creatives is like, take those smaller opportunities. I remember coming up, the 60 was everything, right? Like if you could sell like an Anthem 60 or something, like you were golden. And I found that, as a young creative, finding those opportunities that people weren't looking at, those smaller things like a 15 or whatever, I think that's a lot harder and a lot harder to make great creative out of,
Yes.
It's so much harder. And to me, like I'm at this point in my career now where I love the challenge more than whatever the outcome or the award is,
Yeah.
And to me, like we crush those things because we really understand what a client needs to come out with. And it's essentially like, give us your RTBs and we'll make something really sticky and fun.
Yeah.
You know,
And
we embrace that, I guess.
You don't chop it up. Like, you make the 15
Right.
for the 15.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're not
we
doing
write
60.
for 15.
You have
right.
to.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for
from
it.
over here.
Yeah, sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
No, don't apologize.
No, I just feel
don't
like I've been
apologize.
like ball hogging.
No, that was why. No,
I don't know, man.
no.
Just not on my game today.
I
Kelly Oreo is pretty funny.
Kelly,
though.
that was a funny
was good.
back
That
and
was
forth that
good.
we had.
I
I
like
think
that.
that was
That was
solid.
good,
I have a question when it comes to hiring creatives here.
Yeah.
Is since you guys are all about like freaking, like it's a big part of it is like you have to be funny. I feel like
Yeah.
if you want to be a creative here, does that like what's the interview process like? Is it like freaking Saturday Night Live where
Do a type
you-
five.
No,
Lorne
no, it's not like an
Michaels is,
audition. I mean, it's pretty normal.
It's
I mean,
about the work.
Yeah,
It's
it's
about
about
their
the
work.
work. It's
Yeah.
about the work, and I think it's about talking about the work. I think what we usually like to do is one, when you talk to people, you want to make sure that they're the right fit. But I think, moreover, like you want to talk about the work, because I think when you talk to whoever it is, whether it's a junior or a creative director level, like you want to see how they think about the work, how excited they are about what they're presenting. Like it's in their portfolio. Are they excited about it? Like you'd be surprised. A lot of people like very just kind of monotone. Like that's to me where like I think we find out like the personality of of someone, regardless of the work. Obviously the work has to be amazing, but I think the thing that takes it over the top is can they kind of lock in to what we do, and usually like we'll see a couple pieces of work that feel like, yes, that's very us, or that's something that we can work on and train.
It's like you have to have a confidence. You have to have a little bit
Oh,
when it comes to
absolutely.
your own work.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably why I imagine some people maybe when they're presenting their own work in their portfolio, maybe they come off as a little monotone because they're just like a little bit timid.
Yeah.
They're like looking for the approval. They want to know that
Yeah.
you think it's funny, but they're kind of like nervous about it. But you have to have that confidence when it comes to like you have to know that you're funny.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a super interesting thing when it comes to like making comedy, because at the end of the day, like it's an ad, but you're making comedy.
Right.
And it just feels like a totally different ball game versus like working together with someone to come up with an idea that's like big time strategy and digs into
Exactly.
a bunch of different
it's
things.
either funny or it's not. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to have like that's where I feel like the POV comes in, so like it's a way major part of
100%.
yourself.
But I also think that also comes with just ridiculous iteration. Like, I mean, I think, for speaking of like the Reese's stuff, like I think we probably looked at maybe over 150 scripts, that we'd go round after round and pour over, for the right reason, right? I mean, it's going to play on this fucking Super Bowl. Like,
Right.
it better be good, right? I
Right.
mean, you better show up. And so, we go through rounds of that before it even goes to the client. And then those go through testing, in a way. But then it's also like, how do you create something that's bulletproof for testing as well? Because
It's a whole
you
different
think about the
ballgame.
rigor of something like that. Like, they're not looking for the things that we as creatives are necessarily looking for. So how do you kind of work it in a way to make sure that that's kind of the takeaway on some of those things? Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But
Right.
I heard
when you've
they-
got Reese's clients, they're pretty awesome. So
Yeah,
it
shout
works.
out Ryan.
I heard that you guys, maybe not for Super Bowl, but like when you're presenting to clients for a campaign spot or ads in general, like you'll show them a range of work. Is this true? It's
Yeah,
like you're
we
not
sh-
showing them like one or two ideas.
No, we'll show
You'll
them
go
a
from
lot.
like you'll show them
Yeah.
like 10 to 8 ideas, but they'll get crazier and crazier, and then they'll help decide. Is this true? Is that
Yeah,
Or did I get that wrong?
absolutely. I think that's very true for a lot of brands that we work on. Part of it is also reading the room and knowing, how much can they actually digest in an hour, because we throw a lot at folks. But yeah, we'll come in, often with like 3 or 4 things that we like. But we usually kind of, like you said, we kind of ratchet it up where it's like, here's something that, is really like right on the brief and what you're asking for. But what if we're able to take that and turn it up a little bit? Okay, and then here's another idea.
Like real estate, like don't the real estate agents show you like 3 like on their shows? They
Well,
show you
House
like 3
Hunters,
options.
House Hunters.
Yeah.
They'll show you
This
like
is
the
very
one,
similar.
little something
Yeah.
under the budget, like right on the budget, and then if
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is like a dream house, dream
Yeah.
situation.
Is
you
there-
might
The
not
only
be
thing
able-
is they don't usually, like the homeowners don't ask you to put the 2 homes together. That's the difference,
Ah.
right?
Yeah, that's right. That's
Sometimes
right.
you'll have
You
that.
gotta put some homes together. I have you thought about going the opposite way? What if you started with the craziest idea first, and then they were like,
Yeah, we've done that before
Okay,
too. Yeah,
okay.
we've done that before too. You know, it really
No, you can't
depends.
do that.
Yeah, no, you can
Yes, he
totally
can.
do that.
Yes, he
You
can.
totally do
Wild.
that.
Because then they're going to be freaked out.
Well,
and they're like, why am I
that's-
even working with this
that's-
agency?
That's on us to kind of read the vibe of the client, right?
vibe check.
Vibe
Yeah,
check.
total vibe.
oh my
check,
gosh, if it's like
you
a
know?
random, if it's like a person you're meeting for the first time,
Yeah.
you can't start with the crazy.
No, exactly. Like for example, like the Impossible folks, they came in and they were like, "Look, we have this insane thought. You guys want to help us put this out to the world? That the idea of eating meat is actually good for you. But what we're saying is, Impossible Food, this plant is actually meat. So the whole strategy was going after meat eaters, but it's for a brand that's made for vegetarians. Like to me, like that
Right.
told me like, hey, you guys are down to play.
Yeah,
Let's do
yes.
this.
You guys are wild.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
be
so
that's
wild.
gotta be a good feeling.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I wanted you to pick an award off the shelf because we're in between two awards shelves here. Which one is the most? What was the hardest one to get, or the most meaningful to you? There's maybe two different prompts here, but which one was like this one?
Oh, that's a
Look,
good one.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be going against. Well, there's two then. If I would say, I think for the first one, the
go
most
Effie.
meaningful to me is probably Jack. If you want to pick up that black small agency award.
This one?
I don't know if that's the right one. It's
Yeah,
one
but
of them.
they all look the same, but
Yeah, they're all
We
look
got
the
an
same.
ad age here.
you got Gold West. Is
No,
it,
that's
you
not.
want-
It's probably the one that's overall. Whichever one is overall.
Okay.
I'm looking. These look like TARS from Interstellar.
Totally.
They
Gold
do look
Agency of the Year.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's the
Yeah, I
one.
think
Yeah,
this
yeah.
would be-
What year
Yeah.
was that?
So this
Would be-
was 2024. I want to say
That's
it's already
fire.
busted. Look at this
Look
cheap
at
thing. Anyways,
Who's gnawing at it?
yeah. I think someone
a
actually
dog
dropped
toy.
it.
Dog
maybe.
toy.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But yeah, I think this one was probably the most meaningful because when I came into this this place, I mean, one of the big things that not just I was tasked with, but the entire agency was to help grow the place. I think when I got here, we were probably about 20-some folks. Didn't have an Austin office yet, that sort of thing. We got a couple wins, and we grinded, like honestly, like we grinded like hell that year to pick up a bunch of stuff. So for me, I think this one is probably the most important because I think we set some goals for ourselves. We're like, all right, great. We won small agency, the West division and all that stuff. Now let's win the big thing.
And that's the
You know?
overall one?
Yeah, this is the overall
Oh,
one.
hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So, yeah.
awesome. That it's
Yes.
yeah, that's got to be
Love
a
that.
a good feeling. And then it's like, how do you, as an agency, and you're an interesting thing about Eric and Kallman in the scheme of San Francisco, of all the agencies that we're visiting, the most recently formed, and
Yeah.
it feels like the agency has made a big splash a lot in the last couple of years, and you're on like this heater, might I say, knock on wood.
Yeah,
But
knock on wood.
but how do you, you've gotten to such a pinnacle. How do you keep, going forward and growing and like what's the next big milestone?
I go back to that Scarface song, like push it to
Push
the
it
limit.
to the
Just-
limit.
Yeah, just keep pushing. I think we look at every brief as an opportunity, not just to push the creativity, but create something effective for the client, And I think when you've got those two goals in mind, like you always want to try and make them align. And I think we do a really good job. Shout out to everybody here.
Shout out everybody.
Shout out to everybody.
That really
Good job, guys.
that really gets that, It's not just Eric or I or Steve. It's everyone down to the core. It's like we're all rowing the boat in the same direction.
Row the
know?
boat.
Yeah.
Row the boat.
Gotta do it in the same direction.
RTB.
Yeah,
RTB.
yeah.
Do it in the same direction, or else.
Yeah.
they
Otherwise,
go
you're just
skew.
gonna spin around.
Yeah.
I want to get into rowing. That's like on my 2026 vision board.
Talk to our HR director. She was a rower at UCLA. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh
Yeah,
damn.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll write that down.
Okay. I have these recurring questions that I'm going to ask
Yeah.
every agency. Rapid fire. Let's
Go.
get into it, and then we'll wrap it up here. What is the work that defines the agency right now, and why does it represent who you guys are today? That's the first question.
Oh man, you always got the hard ones. I'd say that last round of Reese's that we did with the lava stuff is probably a great example of
Gotcha.
what we can do. Small agency punching above its weight, doing some big work, but it's also effective because you did ask about what was those might be two different questions.
Show the
earlier.
Effie.
Here we go.
This Effie over here. Yeah, this is the one. There's a gold Effie.
That seems
for
heavy.
Reese's. So you were talking about Cantor One and System One or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the name of that company
It's
is.
like 50 pounds.
Yeah, I know it's super heavy.
It's solid gold right there.
But
brother.
yeah, solid gold, baby.
Don't drop that.
That's the one that that creatives don't really usually care about. But
Not until you get to the senior level.
Exactly. That's when you start
to-
caring,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
when
you know that. I think that you know that when you've got something that works really well, you're then enabled to do more of that good shit.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is kind of a testament to that. It's like not only is the work super fun, it actually sells the product. Hey, look at that! Crazy idea.
Yeah,
So,
it's amazing. Like be entertaining, and good things will happen.
yeah.
All right. Good hair. This is what people consistently say about Jack. What is something that your clients consistently say about Eric and Kallman?
Ooh, that's a good one.
He
Yeah,
did
yeah.
not share those questions with me beforehand.
yeah.
I
Yeah, yeah.
promise that I had
You
nothing
do
to
have
do
good hair,
with the
though.
good
I
hair
mean,
question.
the hair is
You got
good.
good hair too. It's very voluminous.
Good goatee.
Thanks.
And
That
the
was
goatee.
that was some pomade this morning with the blow dryer.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Pomade.
Heard.
Do you use
Yeah, yeah.
Flow Bros on
Got it.
TikTok?
Yeah, got to do that. What's
I
that?
use
Do you use Flow Bros bought on TikTok? Like
No,
the-
no.
That's what I buy.
No
Okay.
free
All right.
ads.
I'll send you a
All right,
referral
lay right.
code.
I'm old school, but yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah. Sorry.
What was the
What was the question again?
What do
We got
clients,
a bunch
what do
of-
All right,
clients say
all right,
about
get
you?
this one on camera, Ellie. Good hair. That is what people consistently say about Jack. What is one thing clients consistently say about Eric and Kallman?
Oh yeah. That one's easy. That we listen. Like we actually listen to them. Not listen to what they want, but listen to what their problem is. And really understand it. I think a lot of the wins that we've had, client wise, and also the things that we've made is we've listened to their feedback specifically, and really found creative ways to kind of bring that to life. Listening. Listen to your clients.
Listen.
Yeah.
It's like a relationship.
In a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you gotta listen.
We're gonna have relationship talks.
No, let's not. Let's just. We can
I
keep
love
moving
that.
forward.
That's a different
We-
podcast, right? Yeah.
Last one. How does working in San Francisco advertising differ from other markets?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'd say it probably it's very different because you're not just competing against other ad agencies, and you're competing against tech, in a lot of ways. And when I mean that, like talent, like you're always fighting for talent. There's a lot of great creators I've worked with that have gone, client side at tech agencies or tech companies and that sort of thing. And I feel like we don't just have to fight for the industry. We've also got to fight against another industry and not lose lose the creativity.
Super interesting. That is a very interesting point. Because I mean, you think about the juxtaposition of like a lot of these AI companies.
Yeah.
And you think about AI's impact in creativity.
Right.
But I think like what we've learned, and I guess I would be interested, like as a final point here, to hear from you about your thoughts on like AI created ads that are like fully AI and have received the most backlash and scrutiny of any type of ad I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like that specifically. And it almost feels like in the last year, what we've learned the most about AI is that consumers don't want to see fully AI generated ads and like in creativity.
Yeah.
Is it like when you see like all the things that have come out in the last year and how consumers have responded to it and sentiment around fully AI generated ads, what are the thoughts here coming from an agency where the ideas are very, very human, like the
Right.
creative ideas
Right.
are funny, which is probably the most unreplicable thing that AI can do is be funny.
Right.
So I'm interested to hear the thoughts from this office around all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that we use it is, to me, I liken it to like a carpenter and his tools, right? Like AI is a tool, and that's what we look at. It's I don't think it's a means to create an idea. It's a means to help bring to life an idea. Just like any other tool, a research tool or anything like that. I think if you're expecting AI to do things like some of those spots do, where they actually produce a whole thing in AI, yeah, you're fucking wrong. Like the humanity of that is lost out of it. Now, if it's used to like help with the craft of it, like let's say I need to make a VFX fix or something like that, like sure, of course. We'll use those tools as necessary, but it's not going to replace this, like no, they can't replace this. Like otherwise, what are we doing here? What
Yeah.
are we doing here? It's just slop, right? As you've
100%.
seen. Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting. That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I think that's all the questions
That's all?
that I had.
Any questions for us?
No, but thanks. I know I'm not as charismatic as maybe Eric, but appreciate y'all coming in. Yeah.
Listen, we'll cut that out for
We're
sure.
cutting that out.
We're cutting that out.
Rikesh, Eric, and Kallman, San Francisco City Tour. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.